Hello, kind people. Welcome to my weekly listener recap. So it's my second recording of today, but obviously you're going to see it a week later than the previous one. I'm still a little bit behind, and the new listener will come up soon. But this time we're going to review the puzzle that's on your screen. It's called What Are You Like? And it's by Apt. And not so long ago, we reviewed the puzzle by Paddock, and we noted there that it was the second puzzle of the year by Paddock. And so here I have to say that this is also the second puzzle of the year by Apt. I very much enjoyed the first one. The first one was the wolf, goat, and cabbage problem, and I really loved how it was thematically represented in the grid, where basically not a single square was, every single square in the grid was more or less involved in the thematic treatment. Yeah, I mean, in a year which is sort of as glorious as this one, I imagine that for most of the voters for the puzzle of the year, and the vote is among the all correct solvers, I think there probably would be not sort of enough fireworks in Apt's first puzzle, but for me it's one of the really nicest listeners of the year. And so yeah, let's have a look at another one. It's called What Are You Like? And the preamble is reasonably short. So to show 6 misidentifications, one cell must contain 2 letters and several answers must be entered jumbled. In clues to non-jumbled entries, the wordplay leads to the answer with an extra letter that is not entered in the grid. These letters spell out the opening line and author, forename and surname of an English language narration of events. Solvers must correct the misidentifications and resolve ambiguities to create a final grid consisting of real words and phrases. This will reveal the subject, which must be highlighted. Chambers Dictionary is the primary reference. This was not a hard listener, and so I think I will, given I solved it about a week ago, I don't remember exactly, and I solved it on paper and I didn't really note the order of the clues this time. So I will, but I did take a few photos of my solution in progress, so I know where I got the theme, and I will probably jump to that moment and maybe comment on a few individual clues. So at some point my grid looked like this. So maybe let's have a look. So restaurant's exterior in Sicily, Italian, revamped without aesthetic sense. So this is an anagram of the first and last letter in restaurant inside Sicily, Italian, and so the extra letter happens to be E, and the answer is inartistically, which is very helpful because it gives a lot of first letters and allows, to get a bunch of crossing answers. Then I think I also reasonably early on got this. 36 is R, S&P renewing Trident, and so the wordplay here is it's an anagram of this without the letter N, and you get spare, and Trident is an example of 1. And so that is 5 letters, as the enumeration told us, but we only have 4 spaces here, and because I knew that the crossing letter here was E, I knew exactly where SP goes. That did not really help much with the theme on its own, but I think at about this time I got enough answers that I got to this. It was 6 something something. And yeah, I don't think I got like, or I think I didn't have this I, but I kind of made a conjecture that, you know, it probably is that. And I think I Googled it at the time and I found the answer. And so, but before I get to that, maybe I should also show you some of the other types of clues. So maybe this was one of them. So scaly longfish returns absorbing experts. So I know what's in the final grid, but so the answer is lepros, which means scaly, and the longfish is eel, and it absorbs pros, which are experts, and so there is no extra letter, and hence we have to enter this jumbled, and as you can see, indeed L goes here and S goes here, and we don't really know how to enter the remaining ones. And I would probably struggle with those if I didn't get the end game now-ish. And so, but when I Googled it and I found out that it was 6, well, oops, sorry, it's not where I was meant to go. Let me pause. Right, this is where I was meant to go. So I found that this is all about a famous story about the blind man and an elephant who all approach the elephant from different sides and thus compare it to completely different things. And there is a famous poem that narrates this event in English, and there is also a very famous translation of this, well, rather retelling of this in Russian by Samuel Marshak, in which there are only 5 men, but yeah, quite a lot of it is more or less exactly the same. I think they also compare it with a wall, for example. So, and as you can see, so the poem goes with each man approaching the elephant from its own side. So the one which happened to fall against his broad and sturdy side at once began to bawl, "God bless me," but the elephant is very like a wall. And so you note here that side and wall are the same number of letters. And then the next one is task and our and the spare that we know. And now we realize why we had to squeeze these 2 letters in a single cell. And now we also know that we need to replace it with task in the final grid. And let's go on. The one which happened to catch the trunk compared the elephant to a snake. And so trunk and snake, again, 5 letters each. Knee and tree. And finally we get ear and fan. And so in the grid we're going to get all these things like fan and tree and snake and so on. And we need to change it back to the correct elephant parts. And so, oops, what do I want to do? This is what I want to do. I want to get back to the puzzle. And yeah, and so this now becomes much easier, especially since I know that as a result of this, I should get elephant. And so I realized that we already have wall here, right? And so we can remove that wall and change it to side. And when you do that, I kind of imagined that elephant would be somewhere diagonally appearing. And so this was very, oh yeah, and this becomes a task, as we just said. Fleur is a word which is very helpful. And so I very strongly suspected that I should put this here in my final grid. So I knew that some of those letters might not be in their original places in the first grid. but eventually they would become that. And so with the help of all this, so now I know what I'm looking for. This is what the final grid pre-changes look like, and then you can see that there is a wall, a rope, tree, a fan, a spare, and a snake here. And so once we change those, we get a final grid, and the final grid looks like this. So the elephant makes its appearance, and suddenly now, out of all these jumbles, we get all the real words, right? So we had this nonsense here, like ropeless, and especially in this part of the grid where we got spunked and fanned and whatnot, and now suddenly everything becomes real words, which is always very pleasing. So yeah, very nice puzzle. One unfortunate situation about having two listeners in 1 year is that inevitably I kind of have to compare them, and I must say that I enjoyed both, but I probably prefer the wolf, goat and cabbage crossing problem slightly more. As in, I think it's a well, how to put it? I think that is sort of the definitive treatment of the subject. So last week, as you have seen, we had like 3 puzzles on the same theme. I would imagine that, the wolf, goat, and cabbage problem now has its puzzle. There's no point in making another one after Apt's wonderful listener on it. And this doesn't have exactly sort of the same feel, but still extremely enjoyable. So yeah, thanks, Apt, and let's see what the next week is going to bring. Thank you for watching. Bye.